But this is going to be kind of tough because Upload Studio on the Xbox One has changed a lot since the last time I used it. I can't record a continuous commentary through multiple clips. So I'm going to have to kind of like piecemeal it together. Anyway, I thought I'd start with this really cool scene here. Real perfect choreography on my part. Look at that, perfect. So anyway, this is kind of a review of Batman Arkham Knight. And we all know now, all the reviews agree that the tank stuff is overdone. You know what's funny? I didn't record any tank footage, and I thought I had, but I didn't. And it's probably because it just never occurred to me that this clip was cool enough to record. Now, is the Batmobile really as bad as everybody's saying in this game? No, it's not. For one thing, this mode here, where it's just basically a car, where you just cruise through the streets of Gotham, is lots of fun. It's sometimes challenging, but never that frustrating. It really just fulfills that fantasy I always had as a kid ever since I saw the first Tim Burton Batman movie. I just wanted to drive around in the Batmobile, and this game does it. And, you know, even the tank mode is not really that bad. I mean, there are parts of it that are pretty well done. There's just too much of it. And really, just in general, it's just kind of like, it's Batman. This isn't Tank Girl, it's Batman. Like, there is a element there where it's like, if I wanted a tank game, I would have gotten a tank game, not a Batman game. Oh, look, I did record some footage. What do you know? Well, that's nice.
It only ends
and
one way.
Even still, the tank mode didn't bother me nearly as much as it did other people. I just kind of accept it because that's always been a thing about the Batmobile, is that it had these different modes for different functions and all. So, you know, the thing about it is this. Much of the game is the same old, quite frankly. The only new thing in it is also probably the least satisfying. So I think that's why people feel a little let down by it.
Without your help, every plan.
So, my general opinion of this game in comparison to the other three Arkham games is that this is, in some ways, the coolest and best game. I use that word carefully. I mean, when it's good, it's really good. The graphics are incredible and all that kind of stuff. All the stuff you'd expect, but it's also the most frustrating of the Batman games. In particular, what's frustrating is, once again, the tank mode. Some parts of the game that feature tank mode just drives you nuts because it's so tedious. I also found the combat to be less responsive this time. You know, like when the little blue halos appear over people's heads and you know that's the time to hit the Y button? Man, I would do that and still Batman would fail to deflect the attacks, and that would really get on my nerves. I don't remember that being an issue in the first 3 games. In terms of story, it's definitely the darkest and most ominous of the Batman Arkham games. It's the most daring in that it kind of throws some pretty surprising twists and moments your way. There are some plot holes in it. I really don't want to get into details. I will say, you know, about the Arkham Knight, from the very first time I saw him, I knew immediately who he was. And if you know anything about Batman, you probably already know who he is. Now, at the time of this recording, I have beaten the main objective of the game, and I must say that the game really handles the free roam aspect after beating the final boss and all in a very unique way. That's kind of cool and original, and there's still a lot more to do. And the game in general has a lot of moments where I'm thinking, this has got to be the end, and then it's not the end, there's more to do. So you definitely get your money's worth out of this thing. So there's other things to bring up. I love the way, as always, they bring in all these characters. You actually get to play different characters. You get to play Batman, obviously, Catwoman, Robin, Nightwing, and apparently in one of the DLCs, Harley Quinn and Batgirl, which I have yet to get around to playing. And I still have so much to do in the free room, including all the Riddler's puzzles and stuff. And look at this, you could tag team between characters and switch in fights. It's awesome. Complaints, it does freeze when you switch islands sometimes. I guess it's loading up all the new information for that area, and I had to eject the disc and start over again. Fortunately, never losing my position. The story has some plot holes that don't quite add up. And like I said, it has its moments that are quite frustrating, more so than the previous games, which is kind of a downer.
Get there, Alfred.
But still, if you love Batman, you love the previous 3 games, you'll definitely love this. The next-gen consoles definitely bring a lot to it. Just look at the animation of the reindeer, for example. All in all, it's not quite as fully satisfying as my favorite in the series, which is Arkham City, even though there's much more to do than Arkham City. And I would still say Arkham Origins actually has the best written story.